Thanks for tuning in, everyone. My name is Orlando. Today we're going to do a DIY oil change for your car, okay? And there's going to be three simple steps. It would be the prep work, the initial start, and then just to double recheck everything, okay? So for me, I have had three cars in my lifetime so far. I've done oil changes on all of them. Um, Three that I've specifically owned, but my mom and dad have had cars as well. So I've done multiple things on them, just simple as changing a tire, oil change, adding, well, necessarily performance modifications, so I'm definitely into cars. My grandfather used to work at the Chrysler plant in Newark that UD recently took over. So I definitely have some background in cars, and something as simple as an oil change could save you hundreds of dollars, um, because they really charge for something that's so simple that it really shouldn't even need to be really paid for. Um, so the car that I currently have now, I actually just did an oil change last month. BMW 235i. It's a sports coupe, and they recommend changing your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Um, so basically, you want to get some information on the car you're working on. Google, simplest thing to do. The drain plug is under the car. The filter is above the engine, so you need to know where you're going to be getting certain things off before you even start and what oil to use. For me, I run a full synthetic 5W30. Okay, and we're just going to do a random car comparison. Still a sedan, not a truck. I know some can be a little different. The drain plug for this one of the 2020 Toyota Camry, the drain plug's under the car, but the filter's also under the car, running a full synthetic oil. Okay, so getting ready. Most cars are lower now, so you're gonna need a low profile jack to make sure the car's up on off of the ground so that you can get under the car. So you're gonna need your jack. You're going to need something to actually catch the oil while you're down there. Obviously, you're going to need a tool to get that off. Um, and then you're going to have your new filter that you're going to put on, because you never want to reuse an old filter. That's the whole point of changing your oil, because then you're going to be using new oil in a dirty filter. It's not really, there's no point in doing that. And you're also going to need a new washer for your drain plug. You also want to change that to make sure that it's never going to leak when you're finished with everything. Okay, so now that you have your prep work, you're under your car. Well, you're about to get under your car. You want to make sure your car is on for probably like a good, I want to say like 5 to 10 minutes before, so that your oil's not, extremely cold. It is going to come out easier if it is warmer, but you're still going to let your car sit so it's not hot. So you're going to let it sit for like maybe like 10 minutes after that. But you just don't want to go out on your extra cold car, because it's going to take longer for your oil to come out, and then you may not even get all of it out because it's not flowing the way it's supposed to be. And then you're going to once your car cools off, you're going to jack your car up. You're also going to take your tools to take off your drain plug. Once you set up your catch can, or whatever item you're using to catch your oil, you're going to remove the drain plug. You want to get that initial tighten and then go fingers so you don't get oil on every single thing you have, and you can easily remove it. Um, so once the oil is draining, you're going to want to, like for me in my car at the top, again, I would take my filter off. It allows the oil more, like, I guess, circulation, so the air is released, the pressure is released now that I take the cap off. So way easier to flow through. Just again, really simple. If you're underneath the car, you don't necessarily want to take the filter off until after, because that is a whole nother process. And if you don't have a second can, or a can big enough, or a bucket to catch both at the same time, you're just going to be creating a huge mess. Um, So that's something you also want to think about. I really think filters at the top of the car are way easier to do, as well as having the place where you put the oil back in, um, all in the same spot. So you release the filter and you're releasing the cap for where your oil goes in, all at the same time to make it easier. Again, get that extra pressure release for the drain, for everything to be draining at once. And that's really the end of it. So once you go to put everything back on, my car, I usually tighten everything to spec just because I know the numbers. But other than that, never want to tighten it too tight. Obviously, more than hand tighten, but not so tight that it's not moving when you're like really putting effort into it. Um, the drain plug comes off, but make sure you always put that new washer on so it doesn't leak. Um, as well as running your car and letting it sit before you just go, okay, I fixed it, it's all done. You have to check once your car has been running for a little bit, so it's circulated through everything, all parts that it needs to do, and then you know exactly whether it's going to leak or not, right? And again, the three simple steps were the preparation. That's the biggest thing you need for any job you're about to do for a car, your preparation. Then we went over the initial start of how really, because after you start it, it's just a matter of time for how long it's going to take to drain the oil. Um, and then double check everything that needs to be done. Obviously, you need to know beforehand your start how much oil you need um, to start the car and what kind of oil you need. So that is something after you put your drain plug back in, after you put your filter on, you add the oil back, turn your car on, and you're all set to go. Thanks for tuning in.